In this part of the video, we're going to download the design from Designs by Juju and extract the zip files so the files are usable for us and get everything sorted and set up some designs so that we can pre-cut the applique pieces with a cutting machine. I'll be using the Brother Scan and Cut. You can use any cutting machine you want. I'm going to show you how to use Embrilliant's embroidery software to be able to create your own SVG files so that you can pre-cut all of your applique pieces and get them ready to go. They'll have heat and bond on the back and it'll be really easy. If you don't have a cutting machine, then you will simply lay a piece of fabric large enough to cover the entire placement line and then do the tack down stitch and then trim around the tack down stitch once that has completed. And I'll talk you through that as we get to that point. So from the Designs by Juju homepage, you need to log in. You'll have login right up here in the right-hand corner. And across the top, you can see this is my account. It says, Welcome, Becky Thompson. And you've got some menu items up here. If you're not sure where to purchase it, right here in the search box, you can type in Blessings Runner and hit enter. And there it is right there. It's the very first one that comes up. And you can add to cart and purchase. Once you have purchased it, you're going to get an email with the download, or maybe you purchased it a week or so ago and you haven't downloaded it yet. One of the things I love about the Designs by Juju website is that they have two menu items right here. They have My Orders, which gives you a list of order numbers, but doesn't tell you what those orders are. And the other one is My Downloads. And if you click on My Downloads, that's going to take you to a page called My Downloadable Products. And if you scroll down, you can see the image of what it is that you bought. And that way it's really easy to tell what that is. And you want to go to download. Here's my Blessings Table Runner right here. I bought this way back in the beginning of February. So I want to download this. And when you click download, you have a choice of all formats, or it will give you just the individual format for your home embroidery machine. Sometimes if you do just yours, you'll still get them all, and that's okay. You can go in and delete those later, or you can just leave them. They're really very, very tiny, and they're not going to take up a lot of space on your hard drive. So go ahead and click the one that you want, and when you do, a download will start right up here in your downloads folder. I'm running Windows 11. This also works in Windows 10. When you get to this part on Windows 11, there is a little folder right here. And if you just click this and say open file, it's not going to work because the files inside are crammed and tightly packed, and they need to be expanded and opened up. They need to be unzipped. They are zipped tightly in a little case, and we need to unzip the case and let everything come back to its regular size. And how you do that is you go to the folder, or you can go to your downloads folder. When I click this, you can see that I'm here in downloads. It's already highlighted for me, and you can see the little zipper on there. If your screen does not look like this, up here in the View menu, it might be over here somewhere. Again, I'm running Windows 11, and this ribbon up here changed a little bit from Windows 10. In View, you've got extra large icons, and you can see by the dot. That's what I'm running right there. That's the selection I have. Yours might look like this. It might look like a list. Okay, so however you have it, you can always change your view very easily by just clicking on this little down arrow right here. Once you have this highlighted, you see it says compressed zip folder. We need to uncompress all those files and get them back to the size they need to be so they will function. How you do that is you highlight that, you make sure the little check mark, you right click, and you'll get a menu, and then it says extract all. And click extract all, and here it is right here. What it says is files will be extracted to this folder, and what comes up is the default of the downloads folder. This is where it is right now. Well, that's not where I want it to be because I'll never find it again because I download so many things. So I'm going to go to Browse, and on Browse, let me open this up just a little bit farther so you can see. I'm already to the place, but I want to show you how I do the filing of all of my embroidery files on my PC. So I have the Documents folder. In my Documents folder, I have another folder called Embroidery. I'm going to double click that. In my embroidery folder, I usually file by subject, just like an old card catalog. I'll file by subject, and I like to split my holidays so that they are their own, and I'm going to come down to Easter, which is right here. Right there, I've already put this, but this is where you would click on this folder and choose Select Folder. And so I'm not going to do it again because it'll just paste it again. But this is how you get there, and then you choose Select Folder. And it will unzip it, and when it's finished, it will all be right here in your Easter folder or wherever you choose to put it. So after you click Select Folder, then you're going to click Extract. And the new folder, wherever you chose to put it, will be right here, and you're going to you'll click Extract. And you'll begin to see all of the files being placed in that folder where you chose. I'm going to click Cancel and jump right over there. I have navigated back here, so I have the DBJJ Easter Blessings Runner. I will tell you, I created this top-level folder and then double-clicked it and extracted all of these files into this particular folder so that they're all grouped together in one. So all I need now are the instructions, and I will take these instructions and pull them up on my tablet, and I like to keep my tablet over by my embroidery machine so I can just reference that and not have to print out a whole bunch of papers. But one thing I will do is print out the cutting instructions. I just find that to be a little bit easier. If you open up the instructions, and here it is, and the first page is the overall picture of what it looks like. And the second page is your list of cutting instructions with your supply list. You will want SF101 on the back of the fabrics that you will be embroidering on any heavy satin stitching. That's going to be very helpful. And so you might as well just put it on all of your fabrics so they're all the same weight when it's all said and done. I will tell you on this particular one, I have notified Designs by Juju of this error. There's a cut size error right here in this 5x7 hoop for the dove blocks. This should be 6.5, just like the lily blocks is 6.5. So just kind of take note of that. This one down here is 6.5 for the cross block. All the other ones are 6.5. They may have fixed this on the download that you have, but if not, you will want to make this one right here 6.5 by 9 if you are making the 5x7. I'm going to be making the 6x10. So I do like to print this one page. And what you can do is right click on the page and go to print. And when you get to print and your print menu comes up, there are pages to print right here, and it says all, current, or only certain pages. If you press current, see it jumps to your page with your cut files, and it's only going to print one page. You can click print. And that way you don't have to print everything and use a lot of ink, or you may want to go ahead and print them all. You can print them all, or maybe you only need to print the first couple of pages, and if so, you can do 1-5, and then it'll just print the first 5 pages. But I print current, and then I get just this one. I like to have it on the cutting table for easy, quick reference when I'm doing all of my cutting. I'm going to click cancel because I've already printed this page. But everything else I'm going to pull up, all of the pictures and all of that, I'm going to pull all of this up on my tablet. I do want to let you know when we get to the point of the first couple steps, and we're going to do this over and over and over. When you have your batting down right here, you're going to get a placement line, and your batting is going to go down on the hoop. And when that happens, it'll stitch. See, it stitches the placement line, and the batting is larger than the placement line. One of the things you need to do is to take your curved embroidery scissors. You'll remove the hoop, put this on a firm surface. It helps to do it right on your lap on a cutting board or something. And you want to take your curved scissors and trim all around this. I will not be doing that in the hoop because I have a Trimmer by George 2.0, and I will be doing the trimming of this batting after it is all finished. The design is completely stitched out in this hooping, and then I will trim that batting away using my Trimmer by George. Then you will lay your fabric down on top of that batting, and the stitch will stitch this down on top of that fabric to stitch your background fabric in place. Then you're going to stitch, this is the placement line. These are for the lilies. So this is the placement line I was telling you about. If you have cut your pieces already in the Brothers Scan and Cut, you will remove the hoop once this stitch is completed, and you will iron your floral pieces into these lines exactly. You do not need to change the cut size of the flowers at all, or any of these pieces. You do not need to change the size of them in your cutting machine, and I'll go over that when we cut the files. If you do not have a cutting machine, you will take the fabric that you're going to use for this particular design, you'll take a square of it, and you'll lay it down and cover the entire outside of the stitching. Then the machine is going to stitch down again on top of your fabric, and it'll do this, and when this is finished, you'll remove the hoop, and then you will trim all of this fabric away from around the outside pieces. If you have pre-cut your pieces, you would just run the tack down line, and you want to run the tack down line to make sure if there's any bit of fabric that might be a little bit much on the outside, you can do some micro trimming just to be sure that the fabric is close enough to the tack down line so that as that satin stitch goes back and forth, it's going to fully cover all of the edge of the fabric and the line of the tack down line. And then from there, it will go ahead and finish up the rest of the motif stitching that's going to happen in that block. When it's all finished, you'll remove the block from the hoop. This one is upside down right here. It says to trim away the excess stabilizer. And if there's any excess around here, you can, if you want to, go ahead and trim that away. And if you have the Trimmer by George, you will have this block face up, and you'll use that metal lip to fold back this outer edge right here, and then use a rotary cutter and cut right up the side and trim off all of that batting. Once that's finished, you've got it all done, and then you're going to take your ruler and you're going to trim 1/2 inch away from this outside stitch line. You need a 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way around on the block. And you are then finished with that block, and you will continue on and repeat the same process for every single block. So if you wanted to print out some instructions, you could print all the way down through page 5, and that will give you a real good idea of exactly what you're going to do and when, because the rest of this is the same thing over and over and over for all 32 pages, and it's just got different shapes of how this is going to be stitched out. It's going to be done in the exact same method over and over, but you will, of course, change your thread colors as needed for your fabrics, and you can do that to your choosing. Designs by Juju does not tell you what color threads to use. In here, they have color charts right here in this folder, and you can pull this up. If this comes up like this and it's not easy for you to see, then you can come up here to the view and click this, and you'll go to details. And then it will tell you, and up here, these are all squished together, and there's barely little lines you can see up here at the top. You can wait until your line gets a little, looks like a plus sign, but it's really an arrow. You can drag it across just like that. And then you can see, like Lily left, you can open this up, and it will give you thread colors. And it tells you right here, let me scroll back. This is using Floriani's polyester thread, but you don't have to use Floriani. Like I have in Dime's exquisite thread, and I will be using the color chart to tell me what color to use for each one of these designs, and I'll just match my thread to that particular color as the color bar shows right there. So that's really a nice thing that you can do because you can change your threads. Now, one thing you might want to do, I am going to be making the 6x10 table runner. So when I go to the PES, this is for brother. If you have a Janome, you'll use the Jeff. If you have a Husqvarna, you'll use this. Bernina, you'll use ART. So I'm going to double click on the PES folder. And here are all of the files. Now it looks like a lot, but if you look closely, there's actually 2 of each one. So I'm going to come up here again to view, and you can see these images because I'm running a utility on my computer called Embrilliance Thumbnailer. And that lets me see all of my embroidery designs like a little picture thumbnail in my pictures folder. Normally, I'll come up to extra large icons and look, now I can see them all. And they're just really easy to tell what it is that you're looking at. Well, there are 2 of each one of these in here because you have the Easter Blessings Lily Left block 5x7 and Lily Left block 6x10. Here's Lily Right 5x7, Lily Left 6x10. Well, I want to create a folder for the ones I'm not going to use, and I want to store those in that folder. So to make it really easy to see this, I'm going to go up to View, and I'm going to come down to Details and click Details. If yours, when you do that, is all scrunched in like this and you can't see it, come up here. Can you see the little line right here between name and status? Just grab a hold of that little line and drag it all the way over till you can see the size that's listed at the end of each one of these files. Over here in the side, in the white part where I don't have anything highlighted, I'm going to right click. I'm going to go to New and then Folder. And I'm going to title it 5x7 and hit Enter. Now I have a folder for the 5x7s because I want to make the 6x10s, so I'm going to take all the 5x7s and tuck them inside of that 5x7 folder, and that way I don't accidentally grab the wrong one. I'm going to click the first one just one time. Don't double click it. I'm going to click it one time. I'm going to hold down the Control key on my keyboard, and then I'm going to click each one of these that says 5x7. I'm not going to click the 6x10s. I'm going to click the 5x7. And I'm going to use my mouse roller key now and scroll down, make sure I got them all. Oh, maybe I want to grab this. There we go. And 5x7 and 5x7. You can let go of the Control key now. Because I held down the Control key, it only selected the ones that I clicked on. If you hold down the Shift key, you'll click the bottom one, the top one, and everything in between. I didn't want that. Now I'm going to scroll back up to the top. I'm just going to grab this top one because they're all highlighted right now with one click, and I'm going to drag all of these. See, it says Move to 5x7. I'm going to move those 11 files up to 5x7. And there, it did it. So now all of the 5x7 files are in here, and all I have left are the 6x10s, and those are the ones that I want to put over to the embroidery machine. If you don't have wireless capability, you can put a USB stick into your computer. You just heard that little boop boop. That was me putting a USB stick into my computer. I need to find where it is. There it is, USB drive F. What you would do is highlight the first one, click it one time, hold down your shift key, click the bottom one, and that selects everything in between, and you can just grab a hold of it and grab one and drag. Yours may be different than mine, but you want to copy to USB. See, it's going to copy it. It's not going to move it. If you're moving it somewhere else on your computer, it'll say move. If I try to move it to the documents folder, see, it says move, because the documents folder is a place where you can make something happen by double clicking on it. If it is a removable storage device like this, it says copy, and you can copy to the USB drive. Well, I'm not going to do that, but this is how you would do it if you were going to move all of these files to your USB drive to take over to your embroidery machine. So I'm just going to drag this back over here and let go, and then just click anywhere in the white part, and that will deselect everything on my screen. So now what I want to do is I want to create those SVG files so that I can cut these applique pieces ahead of time and have them ready to go, and that way I don't have to do any trimming in the hoop. I'm going to open up Embrilliance. I'm going to double click this. I'm going to open Embrilliance. You can do this in Embrilliance Essentials. If you only have Embrilliance Essentials, I have a few more icons up here that you won't see on your screen, but that's because this icon right here comes alive when you've got Enthusiast, and this icon right here comes alive when you've got Stitch Artist 1. So if you don't have these, don't worry about them. You do not need them to be able to do what I'm about to do. So up here in the yellow folder, this is your preferences. I'm going to click this button right here. And if you do that, you want to go to this drop down right here, and you want to choose whatever file extension format your embroidery machine uses. This works with all home embroidery machines, not just Brother. So I'm going to use PES for my Brother machines, and I want my 6x10 hoop. So I'm going to scroll down, and if you're not sure where it is, you can click on anything and it'll kind of tell you down here approximately what that is. So I'm just going to click, there it is, the 160 by 260 millimeter, approximately 6x10. If you don't see yours, you can come over here to New, and then you can call it 6x10 and put in the width. Fine. I'm going to click Cancel, and I'm going to click OK. And that changed my hoop down to a 6x10, and you can see it right there. Hoop 160 by 260. If your design is ever too big for your hoop, right here, this hoop will be in bright red to let you know. So now I want to get that lily, and it is so easy to get a design into Embrilliance Essentials. I'm going to click on this folder right here, and I'm going to go to my DBJJ Easter Blessings Table Runner. I'm going to grab the edge of this window and drag it over here a little bit to move it out of the way. And I'm just going to take this left block. I'm going to click it one time, grab a hold of it, and I'm just going to drag it over here onto the screen. If you ever do this and it won't come onto the screen, double check to make sure that you extracted that zip file. Like I said, if a file is in a zip folder, they can't be used and it won't pull over, and it will be very frustrating. So it's really important that you be sure to extract those folders out of that zip file before you try to use them. So the applique here is what I'm looking for. These don't look like they are the same. They could be. I'm not going to take that chance because we've got two of them here. So I am going to, right over here in the Objects panel, this is where the object is that we are going to embroider. And there is a plus sign. And if you click the plus sign, it opens up 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4. These are all of the stitches that make up that one object that's in the object panel. I'm going to click over here on the screen and click off. And now what I'm looking for is the placement line for the lily flower. And first of all, let's take a look. It says Brother Embroidery Carmine. That's how this came up by default. I'm going to click Preferred. I'm in my threads now. You can click on Thread, and it'll say select a thread brand from the drop-down menu. And this is where you would choose all of the threads they have. I don't know if they have Dimes Exquisite on here yet or not. I don't think so, not yet. It might be in an upcoming update because that's fairly new on the market. So I'm just going to go ahead and put Isocord Poly because that's the thread I'm going to use, whether I'm using Isocord or I'm using Dimes Exquisite thread. That really doesn't matter. I'm just going to match the color. And so if I was to click this button right here, use this as my preferred brand, then these will change over here. But not only that, I'm going to click it right now. So that is my preferred brand. I'm going to click OK. And you can see now these all change to Isocord Poly, and they change to Isocord Poly here. When you first bring in a design and it says like Brother Embroidery, you would just click the preferred button and it will change your threads to your preferred brand that you set in that window right there. So let's take a look at this and see exactly how this is set up. And you can do that by clicking on just one of these, and it will show you and highlight over here in the window. It'll show you exactly which stitch that is. That is the placement line for the batting. That stitches directly on the stabilizer. There is the tack down for the batting, and then you're going to trim the batting if you don't have a trimmer by George. There is the tack down line for the fabric. You're going to place your fabric on top. Once you've got the batting trimmed, then you're going to put your fabric on, and it's going to trim this right here. And then right here, see how this lit up right there? That is your placement line for your lily flowers. That's exactly what we want. So in order to make an SVG file for this particular shape right here, down here where it says the color chip shows, click on that one time and you'll get a thread menu. In the thread menu, you've got two tabs. You have color and you have applique. You want to click on applique, and it says not applique. Well, we want to tell it it is applique. Hit the drop down, and you want to go to applique position. So click that. That is the placement line or the position line of where your applique fabric is going to go. And it defaults already right here. It says cutting. Inflate 1.5 millimeters. That's exactly right for this particular design. On some designs, we tell it we want to make it bigger. We do not need to do that with Designs by Juju designs. These work just great, just as the way they are digitized right now. And all you need to do is click Save. And when you click Save, you're going to get a window pop up and it says Save As. And you can tell right down here it says Save as Type, Scalable Vector Graphic Files. There's your SVG cut file. I want to put this in the same folder with the 6x10 embroidery designs. This defaulted to my EMB designs folder, which is on my desktop. I'm going to hit this drop down arrow right here, and I'm going to come down to Documents, and I'm going to go to my embroidery folder, and I'm going to go to my Easter folder and my Easter Blessings runner and my PES. I can put it right here, and that way This is the SVG file that goes with that particular. You don't see this right here. You don't see anything on the screen. Don't worry. All it's looking for is SVG file. See, it'll save to Silhouette Studio. It will save to all kinds of cutting files, but it will save to a Scan and Cut FCM file as well. So either way you want to do it, you can save it to that particular cut file. If you have a studio, a Silhouette, you would save it to a studio file. You can save this cut file to a USB stick and then take it to your Silhouette and cut it from there. You can use the SVG file and cut it with a Cricut. Whatever you want to do, whatever kind of cutting machine you have, it's going to do this for you. So we'll just leave it as an SVG and click Save. And then I'm just going to click OK, and I'm done. Okay, so now we are all ready to go over to the machine and get stitching. And before I do that, I am going to go over to the Scan and Cut and cut out my lilies. That's it for this video. We will get to stitching in the next one.